On September 11, 2001, I was teaching my music theory class at the Juilliard School when we were notified of the catastrophe that was occurring several miles south of us in Manhattan. Gathering around a radio in the school's library, we heard the events unfold in shock and disbelief. Afterwards, walking up Broadway on the sun-filled day, the street was full of silent people, all quickly heading to their homes. During the next several days, our great city became a landscape of empty streets and impromptu, heartbreaking memorials mourning our lost citizens, friends, and family. But then on Friday, a few days later, the city seemed to have been transformed. On this evening, walking up Broadway, I saw multitudes of people holding candles, singing songs, and gathering in front of those memorials, paying tribute to the lost, becoming a community of citizens of this city, of this country, and of this world, leaning on each other for strength and support. A hymn for the lost and the living portrays those painful days following September 11th, days of supreme sadness. It is intended to be a memorial for those lost souls gone from this life, but who are forever treasured in our memories. Written by Eric Ewalzen, composer, 2002. The concert begins with this time of reflection.
Please be seated. My name is Pastor Seth Perry, and I'm the pastor here at Elim Lutheran Church, and I want to welcome you all here to tonight's concert. And before we begin, I just want to let you know the history of how this came to pass and why we are all here. It began in June when our music ministry team group, we met, and it was at Brian's house, and the idea came forward. A Saturday night was Veterans Day, and it was immediately a popular idea. And this is a part of the Elim concert series. And the purpose of this concert series is a way to reach out to community members. And so we saw a unique opportunity, and we're providing a place tonight for our veterans to gather and their families to gather and other people who support veterans to gather in a peaceful setting, a place where we can reflect on the music and our lives here today. And I'm grateful for this opportunity and for our community. So I'll be back at the end of the service to send you away with a prayer, but I want to officially welcome everyone here and welcome all of our veterans, especially thank you to our veterans. You can clap, that's fine. Yeah, definitely, thank you. Yeah. So officially, on behalf of our congregational council, and on behalf of our entire congregation here at Elim Lutheran Church, welcome to you all.
Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Just want to say thank you once again to everybody who's participating here today for Metro Brass Quintet. Thank you again for coming. To my friends at Unexpected Company, Elim Choir, thank you, Pastor Seth, for that lovely introduction, and to all of our speakers who will be here later in this program. Just wanted to invite everybody right now so we can get it out of the way. We have refreshments afterward. We have a special Veterans Day cake. It's being prepared for us right now, so please stay a little bit afterward, chit-chat, hang out with us, get to know a little bit about everybody else here, and we can have some good fellowship at that point in time. The reason I'm up here is I wanted to offer a few words. Why Veterans Day? Let's consider that. Why? Why is there a Veterans Day? Today, as with quite a few national holidays, many amongst us are going to spend the day off with friends and family without pausing to consider why the day has been set aside for commemoration. Veterans Day is designated as a time for citizens of the United States to express their appreciation for the many veterans, both past and present, who have been willing to put their lives at risk to serve our country and defend our way of life. These brave individuals have enlisted in the armed services, the flags for which we are privileged to display here today, to preserve our God-given rights and freedoms since the Revolutionary War. Now, Veterans Day was formally established in 1954. November 11 was chosen as the official day of remembrance because it marks the anniversary of Armistice Day, the day when fighting ceased on the Western Front at the end of the First War. Veterans Day is a holiday of gratitude and reflection. Like Memorial Day, it is a time to pay tribute to U.S. servicemen and women, though there is a distinction between the two. Memorial Day was established to remember the fallen, those who have paid the ultimate price for defending the United States of America. Veterans Day focuses on all who have served, not just the fallen. As the first piece of today's program is titled, "It is a Day for the Lost and the Living," it is equally important to reflect on the experiences all have gone through and the contributions all have made. Veterans Day offers the chance to show public appreciation for our living veterans and those currently serving in the armed forces. Military personnel and their families often make sacrifices, both large and small, on a regular basis, and that should never be forgotten. Perhaps even more importantly, Veterans Day helps to continue to foster a culture of service among youth in our country. Showing appreciation for our veterans helps us do that. By honoring military service and educating young people on why it is so important, we can ensure that future generations will also answer the call if needed and will better understand that honorable service to the country is necessary to safeguard our nation. Today, there are conflicts challenging national security and peace throughout the world. Threats of many stripes remain ever present. For the United States to continue to survive and prosper, we must encourage the youth of today and tomorrow to show the same patriotism, courage, and resolve exemplified by our current and former veterans. It would be nice to think that there is no need to remind our citizens of the importance of service. But there are painful reminders that there is much room for improvement. Some veterans question whether their service and all the effort and sacrifices they made was worth it. Some succumb to their struggles and feel that ending their lives is the only answer. Their service was and is worth it. I repeat, their service was and is worth it. Thanks to their efforts, our country has enjoyed over 20 years without an attack on home soil, given the people of many war-inflicted countries opportunity, and kept our country safe. Our country owes our service members a great debt. November 11th is an ideal time to highlight and honor their service and sacrifice. So on this Veterans Day, the 11th of November, 2023, let us all take some time to do just that. Thank you for sharing your time with us today, and God bless the United States of America.
Good evening. My name is TJ Smith. I am a Sergeant Major in the Minnesota Army National Guard, 34th Infantry Division. I am husband to Nicole Smith, who's Lieutenant Colonel, 34th Infantry Division, Minnesota Army National Guard. And we were asked here tonight to come and reflect on our service and the time that we've spent overseas as veterans. Collectively, our family's been serving for about 37 years. I joined when I was 17 years old into the Marine Corps, and I spent a little bit of time under that flag, and then joined the Army National Guard after that, after I wised up a little bit. We got at least one crayon eater back there. If you're a Marine, you know what I mean. I eat mine. Their birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday, Marine Corps. We got married 3 days before I went on my first deployment to Iraq, and I was gone for 15 months. That was in 2004. Since then, my family has served in Iraq, twice to Afghanistan, a couple times to Kuwait. We've been to Jordan. We're getting ready for another Middle East tour coming up in a few months, and a couple of times down for civil unrest in Minnesota, and also in support of Task Force COVID when we were training soldiers to be nurses and CNAs when the facilities were overwhelmed with everybody who was sick with COVID. Veterans for me, what this means for me and why I'm standing up here, it's not about my time for me. It's not about what I've gone and done, what my wife has gone and done. It's about what my family has chosen to be a part of. My children serve just as much as I do, or the Colonel Smith does. When a veteran deploys, you've heard the saying, it takes a village to raise an idiot. Well, it takes a community to support a veteran. The family serves too. They're often missed. When someone goes forward, there are jobs that aren't done. There are bills that don't get paid the way they were going to get paid. There's yards that don't get clipped. There is kids' services that don't happen. There's all these things, all this water you carry as one individual. You don't understand your impact on the world around you unless you're suddenly not there and somebody has to learn your life to keep that wheel running. And that someone happens to be the spouse, usually, or that immediate family. Now, as a dual military couple, we both serve. That often means that we have grandparents and family members that have to come rushing in when we get called in when Minneapolis is on fire. And we have we have a few hours notice to pack up and get mustered and go. And I can tell you one of the most challenging things that I've ever done as a serviceman was having to stand armed in front of my own people. I've done some harder things overseas, but that was the most eye-opening, I believe. My children have become accustomed to not having a parent around or having to move to a different state if we're off training or deployed, where they live with my sister down in Kansas. Suddenly they've got to move for a couple of months because we're off doing something. And they grow up stronger and more resilient, I think, because of that. When you are a service member, you stop taking small things for granted. Single life events, weddings, funerals, graduations, my son's first steps, my oldest boy's first steps. These are things that I missed that I won't get back. But you learn to take advantage of every opportunity and every moment you have while you're there. You live in that moment. And you really regret when you become, the jerk, for whatever reason, you didn't sleep enough and you're ornery, right? But then you're like, man, I wasted that opportunity to make an impact in my kids' lives because I still plan on serving for a few more years. I've got to hit my high 3 as a sergeant major before I can retire, and if they like me, they'll stick around a little bit more because I just frankly don't know what else to do. But it is that community effort that helps keep our family together. So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Elim for taking us in. Because we've served so much, we've served overseas so much, we're involved in so many things, we come with our own baggage, right? We come with our own issue, right? We've got things that we strive for, right? But it's been really warming to be accepted as quickly as we were here. Knowing that we have, the challenges that we have coming up in just a few months where we're going to be a single-parent household again while the other one's still serving. Veterans, was talked about earlier about veteran suicide. That by itself, I want to put you in the place of what a 21-year-old or 20-year-old soldier feels like when they deploy and then they come out. So you take Private Joe Snuffy, who has been through basic training, through AIT, went off to serve in Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever else we end up going, and he's given so much responsibility, and he's given so much power behind his voice, behind his signature, behind his action. Because the Constitution says that we've selected you to go forward, we are giving you the authority to look down the barrel of a gun and decide somebody doesn't need to exist anymore because you are defending your brother. That's a lot. It's a lot. When they come home, we do our best to reintegrate them, to get them to understand this world, this side of the hemisphere, because once you go and visit a third world country, once you've been there, it doesn't look the same over here anymore. The streets are much cleaner here, I can tell you, and it's I would eat scrambled eggs off these streets compared to some of the streets I've had to see. But they come home and they no longer have that impact. They no longer have the authority. They no longer have that influence. It's gone. And they have a hole, right? And they'll fill that hole with different things. When I came home from my first deployment, some of the things I did, I didn't feel accepted in church. And not because the church didn't accept me, it's because of my own mental barriers. And it takes a long time and a lot of patience. So how do you help a soldier or a service member that is facing such tough mental health issues, right? In the Army, we remove the stigma as much as we possibly can. I open up about having my own mental health issues, my own suicidal ideations that I've had. I've been in for 5 minutes, I've done some things. But I talk to soldiers about it, I open up about it. I tell them exactly what I've been through, and they know that there is life after that darkness, that they can get there. But you as a community, with soldiers and veterans, you just have to be present. One of the most awkward things we'll get asked as veterans is the thank you for your service. It's really hard to say something back to that. The message I have back, we were up talking to the Scandia Elementary School on Monday. The best way to thank a veteran for their time away from home, for their sacrifice, for their dedication, and any service member is by being a good person. Be somebody worth that sacrifice. Be somebody worth that time. Pay it forward. Take care of your community. Take care of your family. Take care of your friends. Build up. Don't tear down. We live in a world right now where we fight over a lot of things. Politics, religion, and it divides a lot of us. But be somebody worth that sacrifice. Let that veteran know when they're home that what they did was worth something because you are worth fighting for. And sometimes they need that reminder. Sometimes they need to see that light. You can send, and don't get me wrong, the gift packages are amazing, and all the Girl Scout cookies I got over the number of years, Thin Mints, got right here. At one point in time I was watching, you can binge watch Netflix as a veteran, and just watch TV, and I had like 3 boxes of Thin Mints, and I did this, and then I realized all my Thin Mints were gone, and then I felt really sick. But it's the community that brings you back. That helps you understand who you are, why you're here, why we continue to serve. My wife and I chose to stay in the service. I could retire. I've had 20 years. I could retire, but I choose to stay because I think the community that I live in, that I support, is still worth it. Because I believe in what the American people do and our way of life. As I can believe that we can have a disagreement about something and still go slap hands afterwards, go crack open a beer, whatever it is. We can still agree with each other and still be human beings. I'm a servant leader. This is how I exist. This is how I've been brought up. And I will continue to serve until I physically cannot. And that's how we're going to raise our children. That's the image and the lasting image that we leave behind. So thank you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being as supportive as you have been. Thank you for your continued support, because in a couple of months, I'm going to look like a crazy person in the back with 2 kids. All you got to do is just wave at me, hand me a cup of coffee, and pat me on the butt and say, keep going, go ahead. That's all we need, right? One of the biggest takeaways I've ever had from deploying, from being in a third world country, versus being here. So I've like I said, I've served in Iraq and Afghanistan a couple of times. And I remember driving through deserts, which basically those both countries are very big deserts. And there'd be nothing around, not a thing. And suddenly there'd be a herd of children. Where, you should jump out of that hill? Like, where did you come from? They knew the convoys were coming through and they wanted something from us. You know, if it was, we had all kinds of stuff, Pop-Tarts and Gatorades and stuff. We'd give them our MREs, our meals ready to eat, and they'd look at us and go, They already knew better, that it was like, this tastes like bleach and dog food. Like, we know, yeah, good. You know, they wanted the Pop-Tarts. And how resourceful they were. I watched children living in massive garbage fields, and that was their life. They didn't have a public school system. They didn't have clean clothes. They didn't have running water. They didn't have electricity. And they were happy. I've been through communities that have practically nothing except each other and their basic standards of life. And they've endured so much. And I come home and lose my mind because my big old pickup truck broke down. So a big takeaway from being overseas was perspective. We have something great here. We have something amazing, and it's worth holding on to, and it's worth fighting for. So thank you. I'm getting the shepherd's hook. Thank you, again, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you from my family. We're here, and we're proud to serve. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. This is now a time for a little audience participation. So take a look at your program. You'll see you have a blue sheet of paper. That magic blue sheet has the lyrics to the Armed Forces Medley. So feel free to join in, sing heartily. I will do my best to cue you in as we go from song to song. Feel free to stand as you're able.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Straczynski, and I'm pleased and honored to be here this afternoon. I'd like to share with you a reflection of a poem about our flag called Hello, Remember Me. Some people call me Old Glory. Others call me the Star-Spangled Banner. But whatever they call me, I am your flag, the flag of the United States of America. Something has been bothering me, so I thought I might talk it over with you, because it's about you and me. I remember some time ago, people lined up on both sides of the street to watch the parade, and naturally, I was leading every parade, proudly waving in the breeze. When your daddy saw me coming, he immediately removed his hat and placed it against his left shoulder so that his hand was directly over his heart. Remember? And you, I remember you standing there straight as a soldier. You didn't have a hat, but you were giving the right salute. Remember little sister? Not to be outdone, she was saluting the same as you with her right hand over her heart. Remember? What happened? I'm still the same old flag. Oh, maybe I have a few more stars since you were a boy. Maybe I don't. But a lot more blood has been shed since those parades long ago. But now, I don't feel as proud as I used to. When I come down your street, you just stand there with your hands in your pockets, and I might get a small glance, and then you look away. Then I see the children running around and shouting. They don't seem to know who I am. I saw one man take off his hat, then look around. He didn't see anybody else with their hat off, so he quickly put it back on. Is it a sin to be patriotic anymore? Have you forgotten what I stand for and where I've been? Anzio, Guadalcanal, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Take a look at the memorial honor rolls of those who never came back to keep the republic free, one nation under God. When you salute me, you're actually saluting all of them. Well, it won't be long until I'll be coming down your street again. So when you see me, stand straight. Place your right hand over your heart, and I'll salute you by waving back. I'll know that you remember.
Wow. So I'll say this first. I'm going to have a difficult time preaching tomorrow morning after all this wonderful speaking. So for everyone who spoke here tonight, let's let them hear it with a round of applause. It's a tough act to follow tomorrow. So by name, I want to thank a few people. So first of all, Brian Voss, I want to thank you. If you clap for Brian, he's put a lot of work into it. He's right up there, folks. You can wave to him. And it's amazing to see all these things come together because we just started having choir rehearsals. So Ken, can you stand up, please? Ken, and everyone at Unexpected Company Chorale. Thank you, Ken. And then the Smith family at the back. Hi, folks. Thank you so much. We will support you when Nicole is deployed, absolutely. And I just also want to thank all of our church volunteers. There's so much that goes on in the background that makes an event like this possible. And so I can't thank enough people. There's so much that makes a concert series possible. And so I'm really grateful to be a pastor here in this community and in Scandia. So I said I would gather us all together for prayer. And I want to thank Joan for providing me a prayer for Veterans Day from the Armed Services Prayer Book. And I've adapted it a little bit. I've updated it and just added a few things to suit our needs tonight. So I'll invite you all to stand with me for a word of prayer. And once we're all standing, we're going to observe a little bit of silence here just to center our hearts as we begin to enter a prayerful space. And so just let's begin that silence now. Let us pray. Gracious God, we, your servants, turn to you for countenance of our blessings upon us. You, who have spared our veterans from the grasp of death and conflict, and you, who provide a place of peace in eternity for all of the fallen. Grant us the full understanding of your precious comfort. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the privileges of life and the blessings we enjoy through your graciousness in this country, the land in which we are given the freedom of speech, religion, and the pursuit of happiness. Assist us to know you better and that you are the God of all creation. In your mercy, God, may we, the living, find our peace. Grant us from above this day the challenge of high endeavor, the beauty of a humble spirit, the strong courage and will, without exertion, to continue to glorify you, to praise you, and to love you to the end of time. We pray this knowing that you are the God who guides us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I'll invite you to be seated. So I'm going to introduce the next piece of music, and our next piece of music is America the Beautiful, and you will find that in your red hymnals, ELW 888. Brian, are we standing for this? We should be standing for this,
Sure,
right?
why not?
I had you sit down, but I like doing a little bit of exercise. So stand as you are able. And just before we begin, I just want to say, there may or may not be a surprise encore I'm just letting you know now. I've been told to say that sometimes if you're good enough, these Metro Brass guys might do an encore. You think that's possible? If they're good enough, it's highly likely. I think you've been good enough, so I'm excited to hear their encore, their surprise encore. So, would you join with me in song ELW 888? That's ELW 888, America the Beautiful.
point